Hello, beautiful people. It's Sinderfam. Welcome to the channel. Today, we're back again with another video from the Word of a Podcast. Let's check it out.
Um, I mean, that's a lot of reasons, but I think, the media has a lot to do with it. Over the last 30, 20 years, I think the bad boy, I think women are always attracted to a guy with the edge. I think that's always been innate in women. They always look for the man that shows some type of dominance. But I think through the media, through music, through films, they have definitely propelled the image of the criminal and made him look like the epitome of manhood to a lot of women, especially if you grow up in the inner city. So a lot of times women can't, they don't, they accept that irrationality as bravado when it's really just the dude is a little slow. He don't know how to express himself through his thoughts and his mind, so he got to express it with violence. And when they meet a guy that's more articulate or know how to diffuse the situation more amicably, they might attribute him as being soft. Like I said earlier, like the type of men that women date often dictate how they view you as a man or lack thereof. So I just think the media and just the mainstream culture has kind of clouded the mind of not just women being attracted to men, but being attracted to those type of men, but young men wanting to be those kind of men as well. So I think it comes a lot comes from that.
Yeah, I do have a bit of a different take. I think that women like violence just as much as men do. I think they enjoy violence. I think that even when it comes to what they report, when it comes to sexual intercourse, they like it when men are rough with them. They like to be dominated. They like those forms. And so I think that women enjoy violence. I think that they enjoy the power dynamic of violence. I think that because of that, there's an attraction. Rollo Tomassi talks about this. He calls it the dark triad traits. Whether or not that's true or not true, what is true is that men and women both really like violence. We're really drawn to violence. We enjoy watching it. We watch action movies. We like suspense that has violence in it. If there's violence in society, we're enjoying it, and that's part of human nature. And so I think that women who enjoy powerful men and often enjoy being dominated by powerful men are attracted to those traits.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right, Andrew. I believe women are darker than they let on, and they're darker than society tells us. And like, you don't know until you know. Like, women are definitely into a lot of dark. Most women I meet ask me to like be physical with them in certain ways when we intimate. Like, they'll take my hand and put on their neck.
Well, what are the popular movies, bro? Like 50 Shades of Grey, right?
Yeah.
Various things like this. If you look at The Handmaid's Tale, women report that they even have arousal watching The Handmaid's Tale, where the woman is forced into a subservient role as a pregnancy factory. So the thing is like, no, I don't really believe this kind of idea of the princess woman who is just a nice, angelic being until a man comes along and corrupts her with his evil, violent, lunatic tendencies. No, I think the opposite. I think that women are just as prone to enjoy violence as men are. And in some ways, they enjoy it in a different way. Instead of being violent, in some ways, they enjoy domination that men do not enjoy from other men. So that's there's like a bunch of complexity here when it comes to the intersexual dynamics and violence.
Remember that poll you pulled up a couple weeks ago? Valid confirmed all of that. I don't know if y'all seen it, but we looked up.
Well, just look at the sexual fantasies that they have. They have sexual fantasies of being dominated, sexual fantasies of
I think that goes both ways.
Being SA'd. It's like it's insane. Like, men don't have sexual fantasies of being SA'd. They just don't have them ever. But definitely that's high on the scale for a reported sexual fantasy for women. So I do think that they are attracted to this, and I think that it has to do with power. In many ways, it actually makes sense. A man who's extremely dangerous is probably a man who can really protect you very well. So you could be very good at verbal jousting, verbal combat, something like this, and maybe defuse situations like you're talking about. And perhaps there's some women who find that attractive, but also let's just assume for a second that you can remove all of that. So you go, okay, yeah, this guy's really good at talking, but he can't talk when I break his fucking jaw, right? So the thing is like, ultimately, it does come down to the idea of violence, and I do think that there's an attraction level there for women.
Absolutely.
Absolutely true. Andrew and Eric, they are onto something, and what they said is true. Many women are actually drawn to violence. It's just that sometimes some women don't say it, some people just fantasize about it or fantasize over it. Because, I mean, exactly the example they used here or they shared here, 50 Shades of Grey is interesting until the man, or except the man is not wealthy. But it's an interesting movie. People enjoy it. People loved it. Or especially women, they loved it because it was romantic. Or it is romantic. But let's say, for example, if the man or Gray himself wasn't wealthy, then it becomes what? Hypnotic. It becomes what? Abusive. It becomes something else. So this is the thing. Sometimes women, what they say and what they do is completely different, completely opposite. And sometimes you just have to watch. And if you let them to take the lead, sometimes you will not even believe what lots of the modern women would do. And exactly, most of them are drawn to violence. That's why you see lots of them feel so attracted. They are so drawn to macho men and say, oh, he's manly, because the violence thing to them is like a protector, or is somebody that can protect them.
What you was about to say? You was about to say something?
Oh yeah, I said I think it goes both ways. Like you guys stated earlier that violence is a thing amongst humanity. Both men and women like it, like to watch it. Guys like watching UFC fights and things like that. And I think women, if we want to say like it in men from our ways, is from like leadership and like aggression and like stance.
Yeah,
we
I think,
submit as like a feminine piece.
yeah, I agree. I think, I don't know, teach his own, but I think that people are drawn to competitive fervor. I think the love of violence is more societal induced than a natural thing. I don't think people just wake up and born to be drawn to violence. I think people are drawn to who's going to win this competition, who's going to win this argument, who's going to win. I think we're attracted to the spectacle of conflict. I don't think that being in love with violence is a natural inclination that we develop. I think the society that we live in, especially in America, has desensitized us to violence and increased our love for violence. I don't think that's a natural thing, in my opinion.
Well, I think the historic standard would disagree with you. I mean, violence has always been a way of life for humanity, and it's been a necessity. Men need to, and here's the truth. Nobody likes to hear this, but the truth is that men have to kill each other. They have to kill each other over resources. They have to kill each other over women. They have to kill each other over children, over defense. And sometimes it's not even clear exactly who's right and who's wrong. But ultimately, it is a part of the nature of living that we used to have to kill for everything. We used to have to kill for our food. We're actually remarkably displaced from violence and death. So, for instance, you go to a funeral, the body's all prepared for you. People used to have to prepare the dead bodies of their kin themselves. You go to the grocery store and the meat is all packaged for you. You don't have to get into the violence of ripping an animal to pieces, quartering it, salting it so that you can have it later. In fact, I would say it's part of this desensitization to or people used to be far more desensitized to violence than they are now. Now you say, well, the media kind of, they show you the John Wick movie and things like this, but I mean, that used to be actually a way of life for people that, the chances that you got through life without hurting somebody else actually weren't very good.
I hear you, but that's two different things. I think what you're talking about is a survival mechanism where you might have to kill to eat. That's one thing. Being attracted to witnessing the spectacle of violence is not the same thing. You don't need to do that. I don't need to watch people kill each other and beat each other up to survive. Now I might have to beat, hold on.
I get what you, go ahead.
I might have to beat somebody up to defend my family. I might have to kill an animal to feed my family. But the love of just watching violence for the sake of violence, I don't think that's natural. And I think those are two separate topics. I think the only thing in common is the act of violence, but watching violence and seeking it out to watch it for recreation and using violence to protect my life and livelihood are two different concepts.
I think I have to give you a strong disagree. So I used to think something similar to this until I started to dive into the philosophy behind violence and the ideas behind it. And ultimately, the truth is that people don't have to get up in a tree stand anymore and shoot deer. They don't have to do that for anywhere in North America. They do it because they really like to kill, right? We do like the process of the kill. We like the process of the hunt. We like the process of taking that down the game. We like the process of standing over it with our foot on it and then holding the head up and giving that predator roar, right? Men love that shit. And
some men like that. Every man don't like that.
You may think that they don't, but they love getting in the boxing ring. They love jacking each other's jaw. Men will beat the holy shit out of each other and then help each other up and show them, the guy that they beat up, how to do it better next time. They'll get into an arena with each other, give each other concussions, and shake each other's hands afterwards and thank the other guy for the pleasure of getting their own face kicked in. No, man, I staunchly disagree. I think that men enjoy the process of violence, that it's in many ways ingrained in us because it's necessary for the existence and survival of humanity. We've simply forgotten that. And so instead we kind of say, we demonize it in a way. We demonize rough play, rowdiness, men attacking each other, things like this. When it used to be very commonplace. I mean, it used to be commonplace when my dad was a kid in school that kids would kick the holy shit out of each other and the teachers would just come by and be like, all right, now that's enough of that. There wasn't suspensions and jail time and this and that. It was baked into the pie that men needed to sometimes take care of that, right? That's part of who we are and what we do. Now, do I think you should be enslaved to those passions? No. But do I understand why there's an enjoyment level to the hunt, an enjoyment level to the kill, why that would be necessary for humans to have that? Yeah. And so I understand why men and their propensity for violence is somewhat ingrained inside of us.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Somebody's gonna say something.
Oh, if you got something to say.
No, go ahead.
I would say like modern time give on like letting out aggression. Yeah, but I think like now compared to the hunt, it would be like sports. It'd be like we have like football. You guys tackle each other all day. Basketball, wrestling, which is a safer version of it. That's more moderated. But I mean, kicking and like drawing blood from someone's quite crazy.
Yeah,
but see, that's the thing. The less moderated it is, though, the more people love it. So, like, yeah, the UFC fight, the cage fight, yeah, that's great. But if you go to, people pay big bucks to go overseas to watch bare knuckle fighting where they don't have those rules, right? Where the violent overtone is even worse. People love violence. And the thing is there's an ingratiation in men to enjoy the process of violence. It's actually ingrained in us for the purpose of survival. And I think that if you're in, if you ever end up in like a World War I situation where you're in the trenches or something like this, you find out real quick your capacity for absolute savagery is way, way worse than you could ever have conceived of. And that's why a lot of those guys don't ever like talking about that. These are kind of war heroes, things like this. It's not just the fact that they have to live with killing lots of people. It's the fact that they have to live with the internal understanding that they were capable of things that they could never have imagined they were capable of.
No, I agree. I mean, I'm from Newark, New Jersey, so I've seen people get murdered all my life, so we're not scared of that. It's just that I think it's a huge difference. I think, first of all, I don't think every man thinks the same. I don't think every culture has the same natural instincts. I think some cultures historically understood the need for, I think when you become a highly developed person, I know red pill men don't like the word spiritual and awareness. I know that's a taboo word, but I'm using it anyway. I think when you get to a certain level of enlightenment as a human being, you understand there's a time and place for everything. And I think an evolved person, regardless of race, realizes that violence has a purpose. It's not a way of life. I think you use violence when it's needed, when you need to defeat someone, when you need to kill something for survival, but I don't think every man throughout the whole planet from every race enjoys the act of just murderous acts. I don't think every man believes that. I think some cultures do. I don't think that's every culture. That's just my opinion.
I think we're in the luxury of, we have this great luxury of civilization where we're so displaced again for these things, like even basic death, not having to prepare the bodies of our own loved ones, things like we're completely displaced from the process. Because of that, it kind of screws our hardwiring up. But the truth is like, why wouldn't it be ingrained in you to enjoy the process of violence? If you had to kill animals to eat, right, why wouldn't it be ingrained in you to enjoy that process? If you didn't enjoy the process, if you hated the process, it would actually go against your own survival mechanism.
No, right? That's not true. That's not true, though, because it's cultures that before they kill the animal, they would take, like, I'm going to use, thank you. Sorry. They realize that this is a necessity. I don't even want to use this example, but I'm going to use it because it's simple. Let's go to the Lion King. He was talking to Simba and said, hey, he said those are the antelope. He said, but Dad, don't we eat the antelope? He said, yes, but it's all a part of the circle of life. It's a cycle. So it's one thing to praise violence, and it's another thing to understand violence is a necessity, but it's not a lifestyle. It's still a life that was given for us to live. So it's not what you do, it's how you do it. Just because I have to kill to eat doesn't mean I enjoy to see the life go out of one of God's creatures.
It's actually an interesting thing that you bring up. Like the Lion King, for instance. The Lion King is an attempt to replicate civilization. He's a king in a kingdom, in a civilization where there's rules, there's land, there's borders, there's honor, there's all of this other constructed human stuff. But here's how it actually is with lions. They fucking kill everything that they don't like that looks at them cross-eyed, and they tear them limb from limb. They don't give a shit. They don't think twice about it. They absolutely play with their food. Right? And sometimes they'll just kill for the sport of killing. They don't care.
Absolutely.
And the thing is that, again, what Disney did there was it anthropomorphized these animals into a human civilization, into a human cultural kingdom where there's all these rules in society and this and that. The truth is, though, lions absolutely enjoy the hunt. Humans absolutely enjoy the hunt. People absolutely enjoy the process of savagery and the process of violence, because otherwise it would not be good for our survival. It just wouldn't be good for us, honestly.
I don't think humans enjoy it. I think humans been programmed to enjoy it, but The Lion King wasn't a documentary on lions. They were just using lions to portray a movie that affects people. So it wasn't a nature doc. They were just using lions to explain a human story. It's really,
I understand. I'm just saying.
Hold on, let me finish, bro, because you interrupted me. It's based on the Osirian drama, which is an ancient Egyptian story. Scar represented Set, Mufasa represented Osiris, and I believe Simba represented Heru. So it really had nothing to do with lions per se. They just was using lions to portray a ancient motif. So like I said, we all come from different backgrounds, we all come from different cultures, historically and current. When we speak from our perspective and try to make it seem like that's everybody, I don't think that's a productive perspective. You can do it, anybody can do it, I just wouldn't do it. Because I know that there's a time in most advanced people, let's study the Asian community. When you look at those monks, and you look at those Shaolin monks, they will kill you with their bare hands, but they some of the most peaceful people you can meet. They'll tell you that discipline is not because we love violence, it's a discipline for a spiritual, more enlightened perspective to understand, to enhance one's personal growth and attunement with the world around them. They're not going around just beating the shit out of people when they are probably the most violent, probably the most well-equipped men for violence, but they don't walk around looking for that. So I don't believe that everybody just enjoys to see something bleed out. I think some cultures do, not everybody, and it's proven that. And the only reason why you see it so much today is because the dominant society, the culture that we live in that controls films, that controls these things, they try to keep this country at a low vibrational state because more problems creates more profit for people that benefit from problems. But I don't think people in their natural state get a hard-on from seeing blood drip out of somebody's body. But some cultures do.
Absolutely. I understand and I get where Andrew is coming from and what he's saying. But again, what Eric is saying here is the truth. I think, obviously, for some people, it is a cultural thing. Yes, the act of survival, people do it because they want to survive and whatnot. But I don't think it's a common thing now in this society, whether aside from the fact where people indoctrinated to be part of their culture, where they have to do it, like some people do it for games, people do it for profit, whatever. Exactly what Eric said here, which is true. But again, to say that some people enjoy it is, honestly, if we're being honest, yeah, there are some people that enjoy it, but we're not going to categorically group it to say all men enjoy it or enjoy violence or enjoy the fun of preying on one other person and or somebody else, or to see blood dripping of somebody. As much as they love it or they will want to kill animals or do animals those stuff just because they want to eat meat or because they have to hunt, doesn't mean they enjoy doing it or they want to or they should be doing it to another individual, or throwing blows or trying to fight to say, oh, who has more strength, and then to the point both are bleeding. I don't think people or men would, or most men would say that is what they enjoy. We get it. There are some cultures that that is required, but generally to say all men, I think I don't think that is true. But let me know what you think, because this topic is an interesting one regardless.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up monks, for instance, because the idea of the warrior monk is as ancient as monkdom itself, and that the process of enlightenment can't even happen in many of these forms of monkdom. For instance, Japanese monks who had a class of warrior monk, and same thing with China that has a class of warrior monk. They actually do not displace the idea that violence is innately enjoyable, only that these passions must be enslaved to work for you. Not that it's not enjoyable to kick the holy shit out of each other, because clearly it is. Monks enjoy it, and why wouldn't they enjoy it? Boxers enjoy it. Warrior monks have always enjoyed it. The samurai enjoyed it. Templar knights were a form of warrior monk. They also, inside of their own codes, talked about how violence is enjoyable for men, but how you had to enslave that passion. None of these people rejected violence as being enjoyable, only that you couldn't give yourself over to that enjoyment as a passion, because if you did, it would enslave you like any other passion would, like gluttony would, like greed would, like any of these different things. But that doesn't really make a good argument for you, I think, that violence is not something which men enjoy, because it very clearly is something we enjoy, and the process of it is something we enjoy. Does that mean you become enslaved to it? No.
Okay, but the fact you have to
I think
temper
it's
it.
enjoyable, though.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm finished. That's all I was going to say.
No, but I hear you, and I respect it. But like I said, the fact that they have to temper it shows you that it's something that shouldn't take over you. A lot of us have natural, we humans, we got a lot of dark sides, but that doesn't mean it's supposed to take over you. A lot of people like to have sex all the time. Like, is that cool?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
That
you
would
have
be a
to
passion
temper
that would
certain
need to
things.
be, yeah, right. But we would agree they like to have sex, right? So
Yeah.
the thing is like, that's what's in dispute. What's in dispute is not whether or not you should enslave yourself to the passion of violence, or you should enslave yourself to the passion of sex. What's in kind of what the argument here is whether or not men, the capacity of men is to enjoy violence itself, and it very clearly is. And
Okay.
that's what my point is that it very clearly is so that men enjoy the process of violence. They enjoy the process of the hunt. They enjoy the process of the kill. They enjoy those things because it innately assists them with survival mechanisms, and it innately assists women in survival mechanisms to note that the man who's really good at violence probably can give them maximum amounts of resources, because why? They can take shit from other men with violence, right? So there's many reasons why these intersexual dynamics around violence are really important. I just think that the process of it's very clear that men enjoy violence, and women too.
Okay.
Both Eric and Andrew are right from their own perspective, but if we're going to be going from the societal point and stance, I think what Eric is saying reflects what societal stance is majorly. And if we're being honest, many women, they are attracted to violent men. It's just a thing. And really, if you ask them, sometimes they're not just open about it, or they just don't want to openly say it. But majority of the time, is more like a thing for them, a turn on, because to them, it gives them the um illusion that the man is a hero. So that hero complex in for them is more satisfying. That's why lots of them like gravitate towards men who are, I'm trying to find the right word for this, but you all understand what I'm saying. Now when you see many women will come to a defense to some particular type of guy, criminal behavior, whatever, they would come to his defense strongly. And sometimes people be like, oh no, this is gross. But I mean, naturally for many women, it is just a natural thing for them, because to them that is a hero move for them. That is what they are drawn to. But averagely, for going to be honest, I don't think a man or major men or majority of the men go about their day and think that they want to hurt people, or they just want to do whatever and just be seeing blood. I don't think that is what they think, except it is culture for them, or cultural thing, but still it doesn't make it okay. But many women may not necessarily like this, because it is the truth and it feels like they are being exposed, and people are beginning to know, or people will know about what, or learn about what they really enjoy or what they are into. which is the sad truth or the sad reality of it. But I really love your thoughts in the comments down below. You can share the useful information you think might be really helpful. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on all of that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.